And when I come back, I want the next witness. Judge goes to recess, comes back, no witness, court adjourned. We'll reconvene at 10 o'clock tomorrow. You better have a witness. I talk with Andy or other attorneys. I say, Andy, I understand if you're on to report, but he won't even accept his testimony. That's our expert witness. Will this be basis for an appeal? Andy laughs. He says, Albert, don't you realize what happened in there? I said, I thought he did. He says, not only did the judge throw him out of the courtroom, he threw him out of the country. That man will never testify in a Canadian court again. You also need to realize the judge knew he didn't have another witness. Did you see how mad he was? When he went downstairs, he probably went into the break room, and he talked with the other judges and told them what he did, and they told him, good job. And I'm going to tell you something. Tomorrow, that law firm will be the laughingstock of Canada. He says, oh, yes, they will appeal, and they'll appeal. This will be part of the appeal, but it's not going to go anywhere. The trial continues and concludes. Meanwhile, by the time we tried this case, awards are getting larger. Pepsi-Cola executive goes down in an avalanche. The award is $3.5 million. Our award is larger. In fact, by 1993, and I haven't looked since 1993, the largest ever given in Canada. They appeal. The appeal goes nowhere. Finally, the trial is over. We won. What did we win? Certainly money, and I'm not going to say that's not important. But more importantly, a Canadian judge who never knew George Cogar took everybody's testimony, looked, and said, this is the most outstanding man that's ever appeared or had to appear for this reason in a Canadian courtroom, and I'm going to compensate him in a manner that recognizes that. That was more important to Ian, his wife, and the rest of the family, and to those of us who loved him. Now I'm going to give you something to think about. George Cogar was in the forefront of the four most important developments in the computer industry in the past 40 years. One, the data recorder, the key to tape, the printing press for computers. Two, the desktop computers, now known as a PC. Three, the semiconductor industry, solid-state computers. And lastly, the operating system that he was working on before he made the trip. Also, what would have happened had George met with Noyce of Intel in 1968? Remember, in 1968, the Mohawk Valley had a very strong computer knowledgeable workforce, UNIVAC, MDS, and Cogar. Would we have added Intel if George was on the board? Would we have an Intel facility here and become the Silicon Valley of the East? How about the operating system? Remember, Microsoft was not dominant in 1983. Would it have been Cogar versus Bill Gates? Cogar had testified for IBM on their behalf in the antitrust suits. And he knew people at IBM. We had Lanier with a nationwide marketing operation. Who knows what could have happened? Now, if you allow me briefly, and I will be brief, I've had you here long enough, I'll tell you a bit about Trenton Technology. I told you earlier about Trenton Technology as a refurbishment and contract manufacturing company. We no longer refurbish, we still do contract manufacturing. But in 1987, we started operations in Atlanta with 3 people to develop a single board computer business. Where are we today? We have 140 employees, 115 working here in our Utica facility, and marketing and engineering, or part of engineering anyway, is in Atlanta, where they have 25 employees. Actually, it's Gainesville. It was Atlanta, but we're now in Gainesville, which is close enough to Atlanta. We have 300, give or take, customers at any given time. The more recognizable names would be IBM, Intel, Lockheed, and if you're driving on the Florida Turnpike and have what we call an easy pass up here, it's our boards that drive those computers. Our business is broken up into 2 segments: our proprietary product, single board computers, 70%, contract manufacturing, about 30%. We are a member of the Intel Applied Computing Platform, one of 9 companies in the world. What that means is we design, pursuant to the Intel chipset protocols, just as George said we would. They direct, we take the direction. How are we doing? Eliminate the year 2000 as a comparative year, we're doing just fine. We did not overexpand to meet the bubble demand, as many companies in telecommunications did. We run our business on some very, very simplistic principles. Supply a quality product at a fair price. Be responsive to your customer needs. Most importantly, people are your most important assets. On a financial basis, we have very, very sound accounting principles. You don't even know what I'm going to say. Dan knows what I'm going to say. Now listen to this very carefully. This is probably the most important statement I can make tonight. Cash minus liabilities equal net worth. Did I get that right, CPAs? Close enough? He says close enough. Well, let me tell you something. Yes, you heard me right. Despite GAAP, general accepted accounting principles, which, by the way, AOL Time Warner uses and wrote off $99 billion, we didn't use GAAP. We at Trenton Technology use MAP, Mazloom accepted accounting principles. Cash minus liabilities equal net worth. Cash is king. And And lastly, the two most important principles. One I learned many years ago when we were first starting out in real estate from a close friend and partner in some real estate ventures. I was overreaching a bit. All right, Chuck, a lot. And I went to him for advice. I don't think I said this. I learned this from Chuck Kaplan when I was first starting out real estate business. Confusing myself here. I went to Chuck for advice, and here's the advice he gave me. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs go to slaughter. Don't be greedy, sign the deal. Leave a little something on the table. That's a principle we have never forgotten, and we still use that in our business today. The other is engraved on a sign given to me by George Cogar. It hangs in our facility. The harder we work, the luckier we get. The future of the company, you'll have to speak with Andrew Mazloom, who's a general manager, because that will be determined by the next generation. Before I close, I want to thank you. You've been a very attentive audience and put up with the speech probably much longer than you had anticipated. I hope it was interesting. And rather than sit here and take questions, I'm happy to do that, but I will invite you all. We'll change the cash bar to an open bar. It will be Trenton Technology and Albert Mazloom's pleasure. So anybody has any questions, you have people knowledgeable of the company. Andy Kowalczyk, the Bar Association, ought to get him to tell you all about the lawsuits. I'm serious. It was a remarkable undertaking, especially how they pick jurors up there. I'm not going to keep you go on, but you could tell stories forever. But anyway, you have any questions, Terry Tolles is here, our corporate secretary. He knows as much as I ever know. So you're all welcome to stay, have a cocktail, enjoy yourself, and again, thank you. You've been so attentive. I'm going to do this again in 35 years.
We'll be here.
Those of you who have job offers for Albert, the line forms over here. See, did I tell you? Quiet, unassuming, hangs out in the background. Albert, we can't thank you enough for coming here and taking your time to share your experiences and your stories, and for your generosity in the community as well as here. And we would only be able to offer a token of our thanks I spoke with Albert earlier and found that a charity that he has a little soft spot for is the Cogar Scholarship Fund at Utica College, and the local chapter will make a donation in his name to that group, to that charity. And I would like to thank Jim Day and Peachy here at the club and their great staff for the food and the service. I think they did a great job for us. Thank you. And I just want to say thanks to Linda Moreau from our office, who takes care of all the details, and without her, I don't know how this would ever come off. And Kathy Howard, who helped her at the door. Thanks to all of you. You're the most important ingredient in this. I think it worked well, and I enjoyed watching you all talk to each other out there, and that's what it's all about. And again, to Albert Mazloom, and we'll see you next year. The bar is open. Thanks again.